about to leave, already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jayla Koriyan. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss an upload from your girl. Today's video is going to be all about all of my apartments I have ever lived in. Your girl has recently moved, and you guys have been DMing me and commenting saying, Jayla, did you move? It looks like a different place. It looks like a different place. So we're going to get into it all today. But yes, I did move. So guys, since graduating from college, I've lived in 5 luxury high-rise apartments. It has been something that I have just been obsessed over. When I was in college, my junior year, living in New York City, I'm studying advertising and marketing, and just living in New York. It's a big city, really tall buildings, and the rent is really expensive. And I remember just being in college like, oh my God, like one day I'm gonna live in a high-rise apartment like this. And I was looking at the rent, it's like $5K for rent. I don't know how I'm gonna pay for it, but I'm just like, this is gonna be one day. Like, I'm gonna be living in this type of luxury place. And guess what? I did make that happen for myself. I say that to say that really early on, I had desire and aspiration to live in such luxury type of places. And I almost became obsessed with it. Like, I became obsessed with the aesthetic, the look, and I desired it so much. So I would like to equal it out to how guys put money into their cars. You know, they get these really nice lavish cars. Well, for me, I was really into where I lived to be really nice, to be decorated nice. And I had an obsession with floor to ceiling windows. Like, something about the windows, I needed the windows. It was like a need. So I did put my money into where I was living at, and that is where I wanted to spend my money at. So my first apartment was a luxury apartment in Harlem, New York. I had just graduated from college and I wanted to move to the big city, and I was able to find a place that was $2,600 a month in rent. Now, I do want to say that when I graduated college, I walked across the stage a full-time entrepreneur. I was full-time influencer, making money from posting online and working with brands. So I did have revenue coming in. I was kind of in a very blessed position to want to carry on with my career. At this point in time, I didn't have management or anything. I was moving to New York to chase my dreams. I had already chased my dreams in college. I wanted to go to school in New York, I did all of those things. I did the college part, but then I was moving into the adult part where it's living on your own in New York City. So I did find a place in Harlem, New York, and I absolutely loved my first unit. It was the floor to ceiling windows. I was just so proud of myself, but at this time when I was paying $2,600 in rent and I had just graduated, I'm like, okay, girl, you have got to work. You have got to find management. You have to make this money come in. So that my first unit gave me that that push to okay, girl, you gotta make this money come. Entrepreneurship is not easy. You can do this. So me securing my unit was my first, you're an adult now, you have to pay for the things that you want. And I was happy paying for it because I loved it. Now, if you're a longtime follower of mine, then you know every single place that I'm about to show you. So this was my Harlem apartment in New York City for $2,600 a month. It was a 1-bedroom. It had a little dining room area that all of my dining room areas I always use for an office space because I work from home, but really small apartment for $2,600. 1-bedroom, closet, really small, but baby, it had them windows that I liked. Though. So I stayed in that unit for 1 year, and it was small. So of course I outgrew the space. And of course in that year, my back was against the wall as an entrepreneur. I'm making more money and I want you know, to move to a place that does have a 2-bedroom, that I can have a separate office space. And you guys, living in New York was a money pit, but it was like my dream to do it. Like, I spent so much money in New York, but it was a dream of mine. It's no regrets, but I spent so much money, and I was not as financially responsible then as I am now. You know, I'm young, fresh out of college. Now I'm about to turn 28 next month. I am an adult. I've had money, lost the money, made it back, all of these things. But I'm taking you along the journey of my luxury apartments. After my year was up at the Harlem apartment, I was searching for another unit, couldn't find anything in Harlem or in Midtown that was, you know, not crazy expensive. I even was looking in Brooklyn, but it just wasn't something that I found that I liked. So, or it didn't have enough space. So that's when I decided, okay, well, Jayla, maybe you can live a little bit further out. My second apartment that I got in New York was in Jamaica, Queens. Oh my God, I lived in the hood, but I lived in a high-rise apartment in the hood. I remember one time my mom and my grandma had come down to see me, and we were just like gonna like walk down the street, like it was stores and stuff. You know, living in New York, you can walk to the corner, get this, get that. And at the time that I'm taking my mom and my grandma and my little sister, it was the time when the kids got out of school. Not the kids want to fight in the middle of the middle of the street, and the police knew that the kids could get like rowdy and stuff. So like the police were let out every time, but the kids was just off the chain in that area. I lived in an off the chain area, but I found the place that I really liked, and the rent did go up. I got a 3-bedroom because I was like, okay, with the 3-bedroom, I'm gonna have my bedroom, I have a closet room for my clothes, and I'm gonna have my office / guest bedroom for guests. And I was paying $4,000 in rent for my Jamaica, Queens, in the hood apartment. But baby, it had them windows though. It had them windows. I had my built-in closet in the 2nd bedroom. Girl, I did not like that apartment. I love the actual unit, you know, but I was so far out. I'm like 40 minutes out. I just was far. Like, I just hated being so far. I was so used to being so close in Harlem, and then I moved all the way out to Jamaica, Queens because I wanted more room, and I still was unhappy. So that was my second apartment. Loved it down. I, you know, was at home a lot more, so I like put wallpaper up on the walls, and I definitely decorated this place really nicely. It had the space that I wanted, but I feel like in New York it's always a compromise. So I paid $4,000 in rent for the second apartment that I moved to. These outrageous numbers, like, looking back at my younger self, I wish I could have guided her to do a different way, but this is the way that she did it. Like I said, no regrets. I learned so many things from learning, you know, from doing. But girl, do as I say, not as I did. My third apartment, I lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And if you've heard about Williamsburg, Brooklyn, like, this place is expensive. Even the grocery store, the prices are more expensive. Everything about Williamsburg, Brooklyn is expensive. Point blank, period. If anybody asks me like, oh, where do you live at? And I say, oh, in Williamsburg, they would be like, girl, like, who's your parents? Now, this one right here, this apartment, look, I'm even stuttering before I even talk about it. I'm stuttering a little bit. This apartment was my dream apartment. Dream. I have been so blessed to be able to live in my dream place and be approved to live in my dream place. You have to make 40 times the rent to even live in any place in New York. And you have to prove that. You have to prove that you can make that amount. So now this one I might regret. Okay, I keep saying no regrets, no regrets. This one though. So I found this unit. It was right on the water, breathtaking. Like literally, you're paying for the location because the unit small. like small. So I went from 3 bedrooms back down to 2 bedrooms, and it had this amazing balcony. The balcony was basically as big as the unit, but the views breathtaking. I was paying for pay-per-view views. I didn't need cable because I just needed to go on the balcony or look out the window and look at the bridge. Okay? This unit, I was paying $6,400 in rent. Then I also had my car in New York at the time. I was paying another $600 for a parking spot in the building. Oh, baby. Yeah. And I know you're thinking, Jayla, you are absolutely crazy. I was obsessed with high-rise apartments. Like, it was an obsession. Okay? Do y'all understand that? It was an obsession. I was obsessed. I dreamed of this. Like, this is everything that I wanted. And the thing about getting something that you dream of and having these expectations of what it looks like, what it feels like, is that once you actually get it and you're inside of it, it actually doesn't feel like how you thought it was. Like, yes, you have that initial excitement and stuff, but once you stay at a place and you look out the same window for a certain amount of time, like, it just becomes normal. It's not exciting anymore. It's just like, okay, like, this is my home. Like, okay, I'm here. But, you know, as I was getting older, it was other things that was taking place in my life that was more important, like my happiness. You know, just because I had my dream place didn't actually mean that I was happy. Me and my dream place, I was actually the most sad, the most depressed, but I had that view. I had a bomb place, and I'm so happy that I got to end my New York experience in my dream place. I felt like I accomplished everything that I kind of ever wanted, and I left New York saying, all right, I'm leaving this money pit because it's not serving me, and I'm in a money pit. I realized, like, okay, I'm in a money pit. Where else can we go that I'm happy? So I decided to move to Atlanta, Georgia. After being at my dream place in New York, I was in New York for 4 years, 5 years including college. And I lived in, you know, basically all the places. I was in Manhattan, in the dorm rooms for college at FIT. I stayed in Harlem. I was in Queens. I was in Brooklyn, you know, so I got to really experience New York and really live out the dream that my younger inner self really wanted. And like I said, some regrets with the money stuff, but you have to learn. We were not taught financial literacy at all. None of us. I have no clue why they don't teach this in school. Like, what? It's mind-blowing that what they teach you in school is actually not what you need to learn in the adult world. But nonetheless, I left New York fulfilled, saying I did everything. I came, I saw, I conquered. I did everything that I want to do. I was at the New York Fashion Weeks. I've been to events. I've done this. I've done that. I didn't. Decided to relocate to Atlanta, Georgia. The cost of living is lower. Now, with me relocating, the pandemic had just hit, you know, which had ultimately forced me out of New York. You know, New York wasn't the same. So I decided the two places that I was like going back and forth on was Charlotte, North Carolina, or Atlanta, Georgia. Ultimately, my decision was Atlanta, Georgia, because I felt like Charlotte, North Carolina didn't have as many things going on. It still had things going on, but coming from a big city, like, your girl I need activities. I need some stuff going on to do. So I relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, but at this time when I relocated, I'm way more financially responsible. You know, I already was moving here saying I'm not spending as much money on rent. Like, it's no reason why I'm blowing this much money on rent at all. Like, I don't desire to do that. I want to be more responsible financially. At the time when I was searching for apartments in Atlanta, it was still pandemic time. The pandemic was still going on, and they were doing like virtual viewings of apartments. Now, I am really good at picking apartments, seeing good condos, seeing good houses. I'm really into that. Like, I have a passion for, and I just have the visual eye of like what looks good, and I know what I like. I know I like white countertops. I know I like newer buildings. Like, it's certain things that I know for a fact that I like. Like, it's a common thing in the units that I pick. My first apartment in New York, I did not go and see the apartment before moving in. I found it online, and was just like, okay, this is the one. Same thing happened in Atlanta. I saw one, I got the virtual tour. I was like, this is the one. I fell in love. So I have this thing about falling in love with where I'm living at. I have to fall in love with, like, I have to like the place. So I fell in love with a unit in Atlanta, and it was at the price point that I'm like, yes, like, this is perfect. Like, we're not breaking the bank. Now, it was not cheap. Okay, we didn't go back down to cheap, and I don't think anything now is cheap. Any rent at all is cheap now. But I found a unit for $2,700, and I was like, perfect. I got a steal on this unit. It was the corner unit, floor to ceiling windows. I loved it. This is the unit that you guys have most recently seen me in. I lived there for 2 years. So guys, this was my most recent unit that you guys had seen me in. I lived here for 2 years, and this is the start of me living in Atlanta, Georgia, a place that I never thought that I was gonna move to, but me and Harlem moved to Atlanta, and this was just me showing you guys my empty apartment tour. Over the 2 years, I was able to fully furnish this apartment and just made it everything that I wanted it to be, got all the furniture that I wanted, decorated my bookshelf, just got things for the place, and it really was home. These large windows where everything, I feel like I didn't really show, my view and stuff, but this is my view that I had. Now, living in this unit, the one thing that I can say is I actually had neighbors in the sky. When we go over into the living room area, you'll see, like, I can see onto other people's balcony, and that is just one thing at this unit, that although I love the unit, I did have neighbors in the sky. So most of the time, this back window was always pulled down because, like, at nighttime, we're looking at each other. So I really didn't even use that back wall. I kind of just had the blinds down all the time. But I loved my furniture in here. My couch, just everything. I just decorated it how I wanted to. And really, the view that I loved the most was looking in the mirror. So I would come over here to this spot and be in the mirror, and that's really what I loved the most, because I felt like you could see, like, really how large the unit was. This was a super, super large unit. I mean, guys, like, it was so big that it's just me and my puppy, me and my little doggy. But I did love this angle in the unit the most. And yeah, so I'm going to continue on with the tour. All of the furniture that I have right here is in my current spot. Like, everything fits perfectly. I think I had to let go of maybe like 2 or 3 paintings, but everything fits. My bedroom is all the same. So I'm just showing you guys, what this unit looked like. And like, when I show you guys how my unit looks now, like, I think you guys may say that the furniture fits better in this unit. Like, it may feel even more homier. One thing I can say about living in a high-rise apartment, as a woman who is, I'm not married, I'm not engaged, I would say that I'm single. Although I'm dating, I'm single, I'm not married, like, that's what I'm saying it as. I'm not married. Dating wise, like, I feel like guys would come into my place and just be intimidated. Like, girl, like, they don't know what to do with me. It's just too much. I got everything. They don't know what they could add. So I do feel like, living in a high-rise apartment like how I was, I'd intimidate the boys. But I love my unit nonetheless. Who cares? Step y'all cookies up. And you know, moving from New York, I had so much more space. Like I never had a pantry before coming from New York City. So I did have a pantry where I had snacks and stuff. So I really liked that. And in my current place now, I do also have my office. I'm going to turn to the right and show you guys my office. And basically everything is really set up the same way. I really just switched units, and I don't know. You guys have to be able to determine which one you like better. Of course, we love windows. But I think I equally like both places. So yeah, I loved this unit. I loved staying here. I don't really feel any difference with where I'm at now. You guys will see my next unit. But yeah, so this was just my unit that I was in for the first 2 years. I'm just showing you guys my office and everything that I had in there, how it was set up. My office is not set up in this place, child, but this was my place, and the windows were everything, of course. Now, let me tell you what happened. So my first year living in my unit, you know, I was paying $2,700. I'm like, I like this. Like, I'm cool in it. Like, life's great. I'm, you know, being more financially responsible. I'm saving. I'm doing all of these things. I'm like, ooh. A year goes by and they raise the rent. They raised the rent to $3,400, but I still love my place. Like, I love my place. I don't want to leave. So, you know, I'm like, you know what? Whatever. $3,400. This is still cheaper than what I was doing in New York, you know? Still cheaper than what I was doing in New York, but love the place. But I told myself, okay, Jayla, it's going to be a limit on how much you pay for rent because you do not own this. You know, the older I'm getting, the more I'm like, okay, this is rent. I don't own it. You know, I'm aware, but I'm not at the place that I want to buy. So the second year, I paid $3,400 in rent. And then the next year comes around, year 3, where I'm at, the rent goes up again. I said, you know what? I'm not paying 4K. Like, I'm just not. Like, I've been at this place in life before. I don't think this is where I should be putting my money. I have a whole business. Like, for me, I'm an entrepreneur. I have, you know, my personal expenses and my business expenses. And at this point in life, I'm putting more money to my business, which makes more money, you know, and it just didn't seem like the right thing to, you know, I've been in this unit for 2 years, and so I'm gonna pay more. Y'all gonna keep raising the rent on me. I couldn't get with the program. Now, in the past 6 years, from all of my places, Harlem, Queens, Brooklyn, Atlanta for 3 years, I have spent $265,000 in rent. $265,000 in rent. You guys, that's almost paying off a $300,000 home. Like, that money could go to so many other things, but I really just flushed it down the toilet with rent. Now, when I did the calculation and that number came up on my calculator, and I'm like, wow, like in my 20s, the past 6 years, I've wasted $265,000 on rent. It puts it into perspective. And you guys know I have a series on my channel called Jayla's Journey, where I'm trying to find a home. I'm looking at condos, I'm looking at houses, because, you know, a house is a big investment. You want to find the right spot. This is some place that you're going to be living at for probably 2 to 5 years, if not even more. So, you know, I definitely am on that journey of finding that spot. And I haven't found it yet. I did say that this unit that I'm in, I wanted it to be, you know, the last unit that I'm renting, if God chooses it to be. But, you know, this is my plan. My plan is that this is going to be the last unit that I'm renting. And I'm so happy that I made the decision to not be spending 4K in rent. I did at least go down $1,000. That's in a whole year, $12,000 more. At my other unit, I would have been paying $12,000 more a year. So over the summer, I did switch units to another unit, and I found another unit with windows. Like, I love windows. So y'all, this girl in these windows, it's just, I don't know. When you get older, I swear you just start thinking about things more. Like, that $12,000 can go to the down payment on a house. Like, I just, at this point, I try not to spend as much money as possible. I tell myself no so much more. Like, I just be like, nope, you don't need that. Nope, it's a want. It's not a need. It's a want, Jayla. It's a want. It's a want. It's a want. It's a want. Okay, and I had to make the adult decision to say, like, my time at this unit has expired and it's time to go to another spot. I actually love my spot now. The furniture that I have fits perfectly in here, so I think that it was just in an alignment. So yeah, guys, I have moved into a new spot and I like this spot just as much as I've liked all the other ones. I feel like I do find units with special characteristics about themselves. I love these windows. This is the first time that I've had like curtains in my unit, and like I said, I think my furniture fits so well in here. It looks so good in here that I like it. And like I said, I really like to travel and I like to be on the go, so I am not at home as much, you know, like I just need a place that feels like home. This place definitely feels like home, and then I do know the next chapter of my life, I want to be a homeowner. You know, that's where I want my money to be going. I want my money to be going to a place that is mine. And I know you guys have only seen bits and pieces of my current unit. I guess I'll give you a little tour of this unit. It looks really similar to my last unit. I cannot lie. It's really similar. So, you know, it wasn't like a big transition here. I just felt like I was in a different style unit. It just was slightly different. The layout's different, still the same amount of square footage. And like I said, like still windows, still light is coming in. So overall, I really enjoy all of the luxury apartments I have lived in. Do not judge me on where I spend my money at. Okay, your girl is still a business girl. A girl still makes the money come in the business, y'all. But she is definitely a lot more financially responsible and, you know, wants to put her money in places that actually make her money or in things that she owns at this point now. So she's evolving, she's learning, she's growing. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and seeing all of my apartment units. Like I said, this will probably be the last like apartment tour type of video that you guys get from me. Everything will be more so about buying a home when we get to that point. I'm kind of, you know, we've done the apartment thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.